neighbors. How's everybody doing out there today? Hope everybody's doing good. I am on my way to Chi-Town, Chicago, a little bit north of Chicago. Deliver there in the morning, and just thought I'd stop in and say hi. I haven't said hi in a while. I think the last time I talked to you guys, I had just been to a bunch of beaches and had to pop my jaw. Had been to a bunch of beaches, and then my next trip out, I was up in Minnesota and then back down to Alabama, and I don't even remember where all. And I didn't make any videos. I was staying pretty hooked up. Didn't make any videos. And let's see. I've noticed that I've had several new subscribers over the last week or two. I love that. I don't know why, but I appreciate it, and welcome to anybody that's watching. Hadn't been here in a while. I don't know that I have a lot to say of any importance, but I like to get on here and talk and show some of my places that I go and things like that, and talk about expediting some for people who are new to it. Today is August 31st, and if you guys haven't heard, if you're, there was rumors going around, some buzz going around about there being a trucker strike today. I don't know. I've seen them talk about it on TikTok and I don't know, a few places, but listen, I haven't been in trucking very long. I started in the 90s, in the late 90s. So, I'm 20-something years is all I've been around, been in it, actually. Anyway, there has been talks of trucker strikes, I think, every single year that I've been involved in it. And it never amounts to anything. Of course it can. Anybody that's been around truck driving for 6 months or maybe even less knows that you can't get two drivers to agree on what color the sky is, much less get them all to shut down at the same time. And most drivers nowadays are company drivers. They drive for Swift or JB Hunt, somebody, some big company, and what you're basically asking them to do is quit. It's just, there's just too many drivers from too many diverse backgrounds and in too many diverse situations, for enough of them to ever stop driving at the same time to make any significant difference. I'm not trying to be a buzzkill here. I understand, there点truck drivers have grievances, have legitimate grievances, from pay to hours of service, regulations, shipping and receivers, particularly receivers, holding them there too long, and there's lots of issues that legitimate issues that truck drivers have. But a strike is not. I'm not saying that it wouldn't work. Hell yeah, it'd work. If you got all the truck drivers to shut down at the same time, of course it would work. Everything would shut, just like the everybody says everything would shut down. Of course it would. But the point is, it's not going to happen. It's just not. So anyway, the point was, I didn't come here to talk about the trucker strike or lack thereof. I get to thinking about back in, when I started driving, it, like I said, it was in the 90s, so it was, to some older guys, that's pretty recent, and it is pretty recent, but it's far enough back that there was still a touch of the old school ways in place. running log books, as many of them as you could, or loose leafing, you know, none of this ELD nonsense. I shouldn't say nonsense, I didn't mean to bias that, but I sure like the log books better. You know, there was still a lot of the guys from the 70s were still out there driving, you know. People didn't have cell phones, so the CB, everybody was still using the CB. That was kind of our entertainment. You know, you pull into the truck stop, and I used to say I was going to listen to the radio show, and pull into the truck stop and listen to all the chitter chatter on the CB, and watch the trucks roll in and roll out and try to get parked. And you know, it's kind of like a ballet watching those trucks. Sometimes it was a rehearsal. Looked more like a bad rehearsal, but you know, it's just different. And I think a lot of times, whether it's trucking or anything else, when you know, people as they get older start to talk about the good old days, you know, whether that be in trucking or whatever, it doesn't matter. And I think a lot of that is just a lot of that nostalgia feeling. And I don't know, listen, I'm spitballing here. This is just something that I kind of came up with on my own. I may be completely all wet on it, but you know, I think a lot of times that kind of nostalgia, talking about the good old days and this and that and the other, does not always have as much to do with the way things really were at a particular time, as much as it does about us individually being maybe younger in our, you know, maybe in our prime, or maybe feeling better. And you know, I think it has at least as much to do with the individual and the stage of life that they were in, that they're remembering. You know, makes things, when you look back on things, typically you look at them with rose-colored glasses. You tend, and there's exceptions, right, to every rule, but we tend to remember the good things when we're looking back. You know, we tend to kind of filter out the bad parts of things. So I'll tell you this, you know, yeah, there's things that I miss about, and I'm not driving truck anymore. I'm driving a Sprinter van, you know, actually a Transit, for those in the know. But when I look back at when I first started trucking, you know, a big part of me thinks, yeah, man, it was so much better back then. You know, we didn't have, the regulations weren't as strict. You had the, you know, the log books. You didn't have to, you know, all of that. But here's what I have to stop and remember. I have to stop and remember that anytime I wanted to call and talk to my wife and my kids, I had to stop and get on a payphone. You know, I had to stop and get on a payphone and call long distance, or get a phone card. You know, and it cost a lot of money. And I was always in a public place. There wasn't any sitting in the truck and talking to my family in private. There wasn't any getting on social media and keeping up with people. There wasn't, you know, none of that. There was a lot of boredom that went along with it back then. And if you were homesick, if you got homesick out on the road, you know, friend, you were homesick, because there wasn't any smartphone to connect you to the rest of the world. So, you know, that's a major thing. That's really a major thing. Now, these smartphones, there's good and evil and everything, you know, and there's sure plenty of negative about it. Most of us spend way too much time on our phones, for sure, you know, rather than interacting with people. So that's not a good thing. But if you're a driver, if you live out on the road, or you know, any other occupation where you're gone away from home for days or weeks or months at a time, you know, man, it has really made life a lot better out on the road. Anyway, I don't even know how do I get off on these tangents? I don't know how these things happen. I really don't. Let's see, did I have anything interesting to say? I don't think I did. So again, I'm heading up to Chicago. If anything else exciting happens, I'll let you know. This was just going to be a little short video talking about that trucker strike and things, and just to say hi. And here I've rattled on for I don't even know how long, but maybe I'll have another video in the making before long. Hey, thanks you guys. Everybody be safe out there. Talk to you later.